Alright, so you've probably heard that the distribution of scores on IQ tests follows a bell-shaped pattern. We're going to look at some actual IQ scores. The table below shows the IQ scores of 60 fifth grade students chosen at random from one school. So in that table, we have all the different IQs. We're going to make a histogram, which means that we need to look at breaking our scores into ranges. So the way I'm going to do this, excuse me, I'm going to show you by hand. Hayden.
Oh, I never got that paper.
From yesterday?
Yeah,
So I'm going to show you how to make a histogram by hand first. Then I'm going to show you with the calculator. Making a histogram by hand isn't very difficult unless you have a huge amount of data, in which case the calculator makes it quicker. In my opinion, 50 pieces of data isn't that much, or 60, excuse me, but I always have kids who get mad at me when I make them do this. Alright, so first thing we have to do is we have to find our highest IQ score in the table and then our lowest. Do I have anybody who's already analyzed it for me? No. What's the lowest IQ score and what's the highest? 81's our lowest. Thank you. High is 145. So what we're going to do when we make histograms, it's bar graphs that touch. And we are going to put a range of the IQ scores in each bar. So when we do that, we have to make our intervals for the range of scores to be equal. And I did put that down here. And I put an example. So an interval could be 105 to 114. That is 10 scores. 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we'd be going by intervals of 10. Just keep in mind that even though we look at that and our brain does subtraction, goes that's 9, it's actually 10 when you count it. So we would do intervals of 10.
You count length,
right? So with our lowest being 81, I'm going to start at 80. I like to always go a little below, just so that I, especially like when we put it in here, if I started at 81, the screen is going to cut off that first bar because it would literally start at 81, so it wouldn't put the line there for you. So I always go a little below and a little above. So I'm going to go 80 to 89. That is 10 scores, okay, because we count the 80. And then I'm going to do 90 to 99. 100 to 109. 110 to 119. 120 to 129. 130. Oh man, my big handwriting. I'm running out of room. Oh no, I barely fit. Sweet. So those are all the intervals I'm going to do for my histogram. So what I need to go through the table and find how many IQ scores fall in the range from 80 to 89. How many fall in the 90 to 99. And this is where I'm making them by hand. In the past, kids have gotten mad at me. I don't think it's that hard. So from 80 to 89, I have an 81, and I cross them out so I don't count them twice. 89, 82, so I got 3. Did anybody get something different than me? So there's going to be 3 in the 80 to 89 range. Then I'm going to do the same thing, 90 to 99. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody agree with me on 4? A 100 to 109. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I got 14 on that one. You guys agree with me? Okay, good. 14. You got 15? You said you were the one when I said, you guys agree with me? And you went, mm-hmm. Now you're seeing 15? Did I miss any?
I'm saying 13. Yeah, I'm saying 13 as well.
14. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Thank you. All right. Then 110 to 1. Did you find it, Alex? 1,
Is that
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
Oh,
15,
I just
16,
miscounted.
17. I got 17 for the next one. And you're not done, Alex. That's why I ask you guys to double check me, because I miscount all the time. Did you get 17?
I got
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Did anybody else
18.
get?
Yeah, it's 18. I missed 113 on the right.
I got the 113. Anybody else get 17? Thank you. Look at that. I got like 5 hands for 17. Okay, you two. Just trying to mess with me, aren't you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11? People who got 11, thank you, Michelle.
I'm still at 18. For the other.
Just go with 17. Thank you. Because there were like a bunch of us that got 17, not just me. Did we get 9 for the 130 to 139 range? And 1, 2. 2 for that last range. So when you make a histogram, on your x-axis is those range of scores, or range of whatever you're measuring. For us right now, it's the scores. On the y is the count, so how many you have in each range. So our highest count is 17. So when I make my x and y plane, I'm going to make my y go up to 20. I suppose if you wanted to make 17 little hash marks, you could. I'm going to go by 2s. And don't make fun of my non-straight lines. So I'm not very good even with a ruler. I kind of suck at it. So we have to make sure that our graph starts at 0 here in the corner. Like I said, we're going to put the frequency, the counts, on the y-axis. So I'm going to go up to 20. So halfway in between 0 and 20 is 10. And then I'm going to try and evenly space 4 hash marks. Again, you're making it by hand. It's not going to be perfect. You're just doing the best you can. So we made our y-axis start at 0. If you want to, you could have the 0 to 89 there. This is the one time that you can skip from 0. And we can just start with the 80 to 89 range. I'm going to write them sideways because I have big handwriting. If I don't write them sideways, they're going to just like run into each other and make a mess. So my first bar is going to be 80 to 89. And I had 3 pieces of data in that range. So I'm going by 2s. I suppose I should put a 2 on that first one. So I'm going to go halfway in between those hash marks. And then I'm going to drop back down to the x-axis. Just like with bar graphs, histograms, the bars have to be equal width. Again, we're doing it by hand, so it may not be exactly perfect, but we want to try as best as we can. So then my next range is 90 to 99. In that range, so I'm going to make my bar up 4. Now here's the big difference. Our bars touch because 89, what comes right after 89? 90. So it's continuous, so they touch. Bar graphs are used to display categorical data. So there's not, like if it's favorite color, there's no continuum between blue and orange. So we don't have the bars touch. Here the bars touch. Then we're going to be at 14 for 100 to 109. So 10, 12, 14. And then we're going to be up at 17 for our next one. So that's halfway in between 2 hash marks. Then we drop down to 11. And then we're down at 9. And then drop all the way down to 2. So we made our first histogram. Sometimes you'll see that the count is put in the bar. So you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I just want you to know that if there is a number in the bar, it tells you how many data pieces are in that bar. So you may see that the count is actually in there. That's an optional thing for you guys when you make them. If you want to put it there, go ahead. If you don't, don't. Before I show you on the calculator, describe the distribution. So socks, what's the shape? Unimodal. What else? What's the symmetry? Skewed, symmetric, uniform.
Relatively symmetric.
Roughly symmetric, is that the safety word you use?
I use relatively.
Relatively symmetric. So, do we have outliers? Most likely not, because of the relative symmetry. Center. We have 60 data pieces. So 60 cut in half is 30. So we're looking for 30 and 31, right? So that's 7, 21. So we're in this bar for the 30th and 31st piece of data. So approximately, what was that? 110 to 119. And then spread, we actually, because we made the histogram, have the high and the low. So we can find the actual range. 145 minus 81, that'd be 64. Thank you. Questions before we get into the calculator? No. All right. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I was thinking we'd do it with that one, but we crossed through all our numbers. So we're just going to do this one together. Because otherwise you guys, at least me with pens, I can't erase all my crossed out things. So it'd be hard for me to read. What percent of your home state's residents were born outside the United States? A few years ago, the country as a whole had 12.5% foreign-born residents, but the states varied from 1.2% in West Virginia to 27.2% in California. The following table presents the data for all 50 states. The individuals in this data set are the states. The variable is the percent of a state's residents who are foreign-born. It's much easier to see from a graph than from the table how your state compared with other states. So we're going to, the first thing we have to do is put all that data into our calculator. So, if you're not at the home screen, get to the home screen second mode if clear doesn't get you to the home screen. So we're going to put the list into our calculator. So you're going to hit stat for statistics. Should come to this menu. We're going to choose edit. So within stat, there are 3 different menus: edit, calc, tests. We're going to stick with edit, and we're going to choose edit. So right now, number 1 should be highlighted, so you can just hit enter. And it should take you to a list or a set of lists. Mine has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this screen. You may have stuff in there if it's one you borrowed from the library or me or a sibling or somebody. So we got to clear our lists out. Highlight the list name at the very top. L1 is list 1, L2 list 2, L3. and hit clear. Do not hit delete, or you will delete the whole list. Like list 3 will go away. It'll go 1, 2, 4. So I hit clear. Notice everything down here went away, and then you hit enter. And then we're going to clear list 2, at least for me. You may not have as many to clear. Highlight the list name, clear, enter. Everybody good? We have empty lists to work with. Alright, so now we're just going to type in the data. I don't care if you go down or across, as long as you get 50 pieces of data into your list. So I'm going to go down. So I put 2.8. Then to get to the next line in my list, I hit enter. And then it's 7.0. Hit enter. And I am not going to go through and say all the numbers and enter, because that's just annoying.
Put all the data, like all the lists into one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other 3 rows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, I can't make one long enough to make it fit on the piece of paper. But you want just one list in the calculator. So some of you are finishing up. If you highlight the last piece of data at the very bottom, list 1, and then in parentheses 50, that tells you it's the 50th piece of data. It's a nice little check because there are 50 states. It tells me I've got 50 pieces of data in there. You got what? How many do you have, Calvin? Hold on. If you have to highlight the last number. If you're not highlighting a number, it's going to say 51 because it's waiting for you to enter the 51st.
You put this all in the first one? Oh.
Highlight all one. I'll be right there, Anna. And for those of you that want to or just want to see, I did write down the keystrokes for how we made our list, stat, edit, and then we put the data in. So highlight the last number. So the last piece of data you enter, so that says 50.
Yeah.
So you know you got 50 pieces of data.
Oh, okay.
So it's just kind of a little check to make sure you didn't miss one. All right. You have a question?
49.
You have 49. Sorry.
Darn it.
I have
So I have to go through and find
For
it.
this, you'll be fine
Okay.
with 49. Your histogram may look slightly different than mine because you're missing a piece of data. But since it's just an example, unless you really want to sit and read through, you'll be okay. All right. Any questions before I go over the buttons to make our histogram? Alex?
Why did we do 3 lists each for like the whole different things? Like this was
So when I use the calculator to make the histogram, it's going to ask me what list to use.
oh, and I was going to create like 3 different.
Yeah. So if I had 3 different lists, I'd have 3 different histograms. So making one list in the calculator, it's going to make one histogram for me. Any other questions? All right. So I already had you do this, but one of the first things I have you guys do when we do any type of statistical graph is check your y equals, make sure they're all clear. We already did that, okay? So then you're going to hit second y equals. See how above it says stat plot? That's where we find all the different statistical graphs. So once you hit second y equals, you should be at second y equals. Good. You want to make sure that you only have one stat plot on at a time. So right now, all of mine are listed as off. Just so that I don't have to go through and show kids how to turn a single one off, I want all of you to go down to number 4, plots off, and hit enter. It should put those words back in the home screen. Hit enter again. And that way, if any of you had a plot on, it's now turned off so we're all at the same starting point. Okay? Done. So now you're going to go back to your stat plot, so second y equals. They should all say off if you just did what I did. Hannah, do you have a question? You need help?
Damn.
So you're good. You have 50 days.
Yeah, actually,
Put second y equals.
So every plot should be off.
Yeah, it should say off at the end of every plot. So we're going to just mess with plot 1. There is no difference between plot 1, plot 2, plot 3. I always work with 1. What's up, Noah?
What you put when you have all the same states?
Second y equals. Second y equals. Is it number 1?
No, it's number 5.
Go down to 4. Oh, no. Number 5 turns them all on.
Number 5 should say.
Wait, how'd you get to that point?
How'd you get to what your screen says?
Okay. Go to second y equals. We're all here.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's only 3 plots. Those should say off. 4 turns all of them off. 5 turns all of them on. Okay, so yes, that one's going to say on all the time. Okay? We're going to work in plot 1 just because it's the first one there. So I'm going to hit enter. And it's going to put me into this screen.
Oh, and these are the different types of graphs. and
These
whatnot.
are the different types of graphs that the calculator will make. We're making a histogram.
So what's the dot?
First thing though, we gotta turn it on. So see how right now off is highlighted, on is blinking? You're gonna hit enter, and that's gonna highlight the word on. It's gonna turn our plot on. Then I'm gonna hit the down arrow so that I'm in the type. The older calculators, I think it's listed in 2 lines.
You just have to keep pressing right, and then to get to the lower section of the graphs.
Say that again?
You just
When you're
keep
looking at
pressing,
the
right?
types, you just have to keep pressing.
Yes. Keep pressing the right arrow and it'll take you down to the second line. So we want the histogram, the bar graph looking one. On mine, that's the 3rd one in, okay? If that's not the little graph that is highlighted, like mine right now, it's highlighted. If that's not the one highlighted for you, go to that one, hit enter, and it will choose the histogram for you. Good? All right, then we're going to hit the down arrow. Now this is where it's asking me what data do I want to use. If you all cleared your lists and put it in the very first list, you have your data in list 1, L1. If you didn't clear your list and you put it in an empty one, I don't know what list you put your data in, and I'll have to help you in a minute. If it doesn't say list 1, says list 2 or 3 or 4, to get L1, you're going to hit second 1, right above the number 1 in the blue, at least on mine. It says L1, that's list 1. Second 2 would give me list 2. Second 3, list 3. List 4, list 5, list 6. Okay? So if it says list 1, you're good. Frequency should say 1. That's the default setting. Don't mess with that.
You have color.
I do have color because I have a CE color edition. I don't care about the color, so I'm just going to leave it as magenta. This was like, well, when I bought this one, I think I actually got it for $88 because it was on sale.
Color ones.
So you want to, go ahead and get this here and put a 1 in. For
Well, it doesn't do anything.
up here, is that where you're at? Yeah, as long as your data's in list 1, then you're good. Everybody good?
I found that.
Okay. No. All right. So I've had a couple of you tell me that you have a list in your frequency. We don't want a list in our frequency. You just want it to say 1. It says what? 1. It says 1. If you have a list there, if for some reason it says list 3, you're going to hit clear or whatever list. We don't want a list. Hit clear. It'll go away. Put a 1 there.
You press enter afterwards.
You don't have to, no. We good? It should look like this. On the histogram highlighted, list 1, 1. If you don't have a color edition, it won't offer a color. The older one, see how it says A? It's in alphabet. I don't know what it is. Are we good? Yes, sir.
Mine's just L2.
On frequency, hit clear. Did it go away? Put a 1.
It says like when I put a 1 instead of 1.
Take off the alpha. So hit clear, but before you type the 1, hit the alpha button. The older calculators, I forgot, they're in alpha lock when you clear it. Good. Now, if you hit graph, it may not look like mine. Graph, graph, top right, graph. It may look just like mine, it may not.
I did one.
If it says there's an error, let me know and I'll come look at it really quick.
It looks almost.
This is dope.
Here's valid.
I'm so happy.
How big is it even that for? Just it says I can't grab it.
That's a rock, buddy.
Yeah.
Points now that just shouldn't exist. Hold on.
Okay, so I got it here. You want to work at elsewhere?
Mine's just.
Yes.
I have two.
Thank you. Why does it keep saying
Your window was just, so like your histogram was here, after your vision.
Oh, okay. Because the grass isn't in there anymore. I don't know why it's not. Whoa, what did you do that?
Hold on. So, the extra line.
I'm making it really good.
All right, so some of you, like I said, yours doesn't look like mine. Now I'm going to teach you how to mess with the window so that we can all have similar looking histograms.
So wait, did you I'm valid? I was never on that.
I reached that one.
Well, I can see.
I don't like the silver edition.
Oh,
yeah.
See, this is what
Don't talk to me about opportunity.
I can look this up, but I don't know
Yeah, yours looks right.
Oh, yeah.
I did it right.
No, yours looks right.
Even my first one was really wrong.
It's because you
Like a phone call.
Oh, yeah. Oh, where's the backside? I accidentally bumped it.
I mean, like, that's. I mean, that's like.
Where's the back button?
Hit graph.
Where's that?
Graph. Hit
Oh,
graph.
crap.
All right. Quiet back down, please. So, like I said, yours may not look like mine. Yours may be more zoomed in, might be zoomed out further like mine. We can mess with the window and make it look like we want it to look like, okay? So to mess with the window, up here is the word window. We're going to mess with it. So press window. And it's going to ask us what we want the x's to go from, what we want the y's to go from. The one thing I can tell you is do not ever mess with the x-res.
I did.
Mess with that. Okay? So,
It's at -10.
our lowest IQ score was 81. So, like I said, I'm going to go 80. Now, even though I stopped here at 149, I mean, I guess let's just do 149.
Are we plotting for the top or the bottom one?
X.
Well, like I'm saying, like.
Oh,
just
thank
an
you.
IQ stuff.
Sorry. Gosh, thank you, Trey. My brain is off. All right, so what was the lowest one here? Let's go 0. I don't know if it was in the 1s or the 2s, but let's go with 0. And then our highest was what, 27? So if we go by 30s, go to 30, not by 30s.
It says the lowest is 1.2.
Okay. So, like I said, I like to go a little below the lowest and a little above. Otherwise, the calculator screen will cut off the edges. So I'm going to go 0 to 30. And then we're going to pick our interval range. You guys want to go by what? 3s, 5s? I like 5s. Okay, let's go with 3s. So the Y minimum, I don't need to show the bottom half of the graph, right? Because my bars all have a positive number of data points. So I'm going to set my Y min to start at 0. So really, I'm just going to see that first quadrant of the graph. And I'm going to leave it at 10 because I don't know how many are in each bar. And we'll see if it cuts off one of our bars. And then our Y scale, we're going to leave at 1. So it's counting by 1s. That's what the scale means.
And what about like the 0.3?
Don't mess with those. All you ever mess with is X min, X max, X scale, Y min, Y max, Y scale. Anything else, leave alone. Okay? Everybody good? Matches 0, 33, 0, 10, 1. And then the rest should just be the default. Hit graph. Ah, see, my bar did get cut off. So we need to change our Y max because the second bar got cut off. My second bar here. The first one, this one can't see the
So do we need to change to like 50 or something?
I changed it to 15.
I was going to say just go by 5. So if you go back into the window, we're going to change our Y max to 15.
Oh, yeah.
Still cut off? Okay, let's go to 20. And since I'm going to go by 2s. The 1s is fine. It's just the hash marks on this side. So, because we all have the same window, all our histograms should look the same at this point. Unless you mistyped a data point or like Tyler, he skipped a data point and I told him to just keep going through the example. It does? Any questions? Now, the cool thing about the calculator, at the top, these 5 buttons, if you hit trace, it puts a little blinky thing at the top of the bar, and I'm going to zoom in. And it tells you that the minimum for that bar is 0, and it goes up to 3, and there's 9 pieces of data in there. So remember, we went from 0 to 30 by 3s. So that first bar is 0 to 3, well, 0 to just under 3. And there's 9 pieces of data in there. If I hit the right arrow button, it'll tell me the next bar is 3 to right under 6, and there's 16 pieces of data in there. So then when you're doing your homework and you make a histogram in your calculator, and I tell you anytime you make a graph in your calculator, you have to make a sketch on your paper, you can quickly see how tall your bars have to be.
How'd you get that?
Trace. And it should just pop up the blinky thing on that first bar. And then you can hit the right and left arrows to get the information about each bar. And like right here, there's no data between 24 to right under 27. questions? Alex?
I was looking at calculators, but could I get an Inspire CX?
No. I mean, you could. Is it going to do you any good? No.
Is it like overkill or like,
Yeah.
what is it for? Like, other than this?
Honestly, it's banned from a lot of tests. Like, you can't use it on the ACT, the SAT. I think it has to do more with computer programming than actual, like, math. Because it's got a keyboard on there. And you can type documents in it and stuff.
When I was looking at some actual calculators.
I don't know. Well, it was messed up, so we were going to clear
That's my name. Literally only
well, if I could get the color edition,
That's right there. No, it's
Yeah, I don't like my name. It's very, there's some flow to it.
Mine's all like,
It's like very Jack Martin. Just like,
you probably just download it on your computer. This over here is like valuable. But that probably lasts.
I hope eventually it just takes like a that's great.
Oh
my god.
Notice your I used to have a little bit.
Okay, but why are the ones where
No, I think it's just. There's no significance. Well, yeah, that's it's downloaded. It's downloaded though. Yeah, because there's no updates or anything.
Yes, it was.
All right. Are there...
No.
What time did we get off?
19, so we gotta watch the announcements.
Okay. The 1 minute announcements, I'll get them in there. Are there any questions?
How do you draw that? Yeah.
How do we draw it? Let's draw. All right. So, our window, let's see, sorry, I'm looking, because I am going to write the other keystrokes down for you guys in a minute. And then this video, I know you don't really want to watch it, but it will be on Canvas if you forget. You can, like, fast forward me and get to the point you want to get to. Come on, Eric. All right. Oops, I don't know what I did. So we picked our window. If you need a reminder, you can hit window. My X goes from 0 to 30. My Y goes from 0 to 20. So that's going to help me when I draw my XY plane. So 0 here. I'm going to zoom out. I was zoomed in for my calculator. There we go. So 0 down at the corner. Let's see. I'm going to fit 20 in under the table. Halfway between 0 and 20 is 10. I'm going to go by 2s just so I don't have to make as many hash marks because I'm lazy. You guys will quickly learn that in this class. I'm lazy. And then X, we went from 0 to 30 by 3s. So that's 10 hash marks, right? If I make 30. I mean, I suppose you could do it like we did up here and just make the bar and then put the range. I'm going to make hash marks, try to make them equal. So that'd be 15, 3, 6, 9, 12. So 3 of them, 4 of them. 3, 6, 9, 12. 18, 21, 24, 27. And again, it's by hand, so you can see my hash marks aren't perfectly spaced somewhere. So far, so good. I take silence as a yes. So if I go back to my graph and I hit that trace button, it tells me that from 0 to right under 3, I have 9 pieces of data. So I'm going to go up to 9 on my Y. When Jillian gets back, sure. Oh, look at that. She's back for you. And we're going to drop down. Now, I tried to stay just slightly to the left of 3 because my range percents, there are decimal places, is just under 3, from 0 to less than 3, so like 2.999. So I tried to make my bar right on the left side of my hash mark for 3. Then the next bar has 16 points. So that's 12, 14, 16. That bar is wider than the other one, sorry. Then my next bar has 6 data points. And then 5. And then 6. And then the next two both have 3 data points. Sorry, my calculator is in my way. And then I have a 1. And then from 24 to 27, it says there's 0 data pieces, so I don't draw a bar there. I just skip to the 27 to 30 range, and I put a bar with a height of 1 up there.
Wait, what was it that you put so it wasn't the height of the graph?
So if I'm here, you're going to hit trace, and that'll bring up the little blinky thing. I don't know what to call it. Yeah. Any other questions? No?
I can't see the graph.
Sorry.
Why is there like a space in between the last two?
Because there are no states with 24 to 27% of their residents being foreign-born. So no data pieces in that range, so I don't draw a bar. Any other questions? Alex?
Well, we're gonna do a test. Is it okay if we use like a ruler? Because my hash marks were like way
Sure.
off.
Yep. I'm trying to think. If I'm really well prepared, I would probably at least give you this, the number line across the bottom. Not labeled, because then I'm giving you part of the answer, but I would at least give you a straight line. That being said, I may not be as well prepared as I think I am, or I print it and I go, oh, draw the line on there, and then I get down there and I forget to draw the line on it before I make copies. So, yes, you can always use ruler. You're like, I just wanted a yes or no, and she gave me this whole spiel.
No, it's good.
Any other questions? All right, so there is a exit task, make a histogram. You can do it by hand if you prefer. I'd say try with the calculator just so you're practicing that skill. While you guys are doing that, I am going to write the keystrokes down again. I haven't written them down. I'm going to write them down. You can take a picture at the end if you want, or like I said, the video will be on Canvas. Let's use a different color.
Wait, I had it written down.
How do you clear a whole list?
It's,
Highlight the list name.
oh.
Pick clear, enter.
So when you plot down, it's just like the n equals to like number of.
All the numbers.
Who's got this?
You click stat,
Yeah, different.
so you put all these numbers down in your list.
No, because I have to say my name. How do I take that list?
I don't know if I
Not
asked for it.
split.
I'm on board two. Okay, cool.
Fit the words there. One thing I want to add, if you don't know where to start with your window for your histogram, there is a statistical window. It'll change depending on the data, but if you hit zoom right up here in the center, and then number 9 zooms back, it'll choose a window based on the data, and then you can adjust as you see fit. So zoom, and then just hit the number 9, and it'll pick a window for you, so then you have a starting place, okay?
Wait, what?
Zoom 9. Zoom 9. Yes, please go ahead. Just thank you, Shay. I do, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, we are. Why not?
Thanks, Tina.
Probably do.